The Kindest Channel is opening the file. Today's defendants are 7 of the sweetest pets alive, the ones you personally named after cartoon characters while they quietly worked out what you are going to cost them. I am not measuring cuteness, I am measuring the invoice hiding behind the nickname. One of these saved Rome, another one will send an assistant over a fence. The numbers are real, the cuteness is marketing. No lecture at the end either. Buckle up. First up, the one who hears dinner before you have opened the fridge. Fluffy. Opening the file. One name, an entire population. Rabbits can deliver up to 30 eggs a year. You brought home one Fluffy. There are 7 now, and all of them want dinner. Same as your streaming subscriptions. You signed up for 1, you are paying for 7. The teeth never stop growing, up to 5 inches a year, and he files them down on your furniture. Startle him and those back legs kick hard enough to break his own spine. Adorable. 1 fright away from a hospital. He does love you. Strictly at feeding time. Exhibit A, the love detector, part 1. I take out the ball. Quietly, behind my back, not a sound from the lid. I turn around and Fluffy is already on the table. Teleportation confirmed, ears up, eyes honest, delight absolutely genuine. The table was set for an experiment. It is now a feeding platform. The love detector reads maximum. Remember that reading. It comes back before the end. The verdict of the Kindest Channel. Sincerity, 3 out of 10. On danger, the threat is to a chair, not to you. His love switches on at the sound of a bow, the way your discipline switches on at the word Monday. Next, the one who hears exactly the same sound and refuses to move. Mittens. Opening the file. Fresh from science, a cat recognizes its own name. Tested and confirmed. He hears it, he identifies it, and he cautiously does nothing about it. 0 movement. That is not deafness, that is a stated position. He purrs at around 25 Hz for himself, because that is how he repairs himself, and you are not part of the process. The danger is not the claws. A cat bite puts more infection under your skin than you put soap on it afterwards. You named him after a cartoon, and you named your Wi-Fi Pentagon. Priorities like steel. Recognize yourself? Exhibit B. The love detector part 2. Same bowl. Mittens walks up, looks at the food, looks at me, and sits down with his back to both of us. 20 seconds of hypnotizing a wall. Science was right. Heard it, recognized it, ignored it. At least the rabbit honestly loved the bowl. This one doesn't even love the bowl. He tolerates you for the rent on the sofa. The detector is fine. The subject is broken. The verdict. Indifference, 4 out of 10. The extra point is for the fact that a scratch from him takes longer to heal than his interest in you lasts. Hears everyone, ignores everyone, certified by science. Next. The one whose chicks are registered as a warehouse. Nugget. Opening the file. The hamster is the only defendant here who was named honestly. His entire life is about food. The chick pouches stretch down to his hips and hold up to 1/5 of his body weight. Wide relatives bury as much as 200 pounds of supplies. There is no winter that long. Impressive. Your shopping basket during a sale is assembled on exactly the same logic. You are also stocking up for an apocalypse that is not coming. The difference is that the hamster would actually survive it. He runs up to 5 miles a night in that wheel. The distance is real, the destination is not. Exhibit C. Carry-on luggage. The assistant sets my prop down in front of Nugget, a sock, woolen, child-sized, and then extends a finger to find out whether something this small can bite. Something this small can bite. The assistant jumped back, the finger survived, the dignity did not. Meanwhile the sock went into the cheek hole. A hamster the size of a sock has put the sock inside himself and is now scanning for anything else left lying around. Assistant number 1 is alive. Rare footage and lucky, because there is plenty more where he came from. My prop is now classified as supplies. Customs is asleep, the warehouse is open. The verdict. Hoarding, 2 out of 10. His entire arsenal is a nip for whoever reaches into his warehouse. Danger? None. Logistics? Exemplary. Take everything, hide it everywhere, never run an audit. And now a short break in proceedings. A complaint has reached the channel. Segment The Complaint. My assistant, the same one who set a channel record last episode running from a bison, has filed an official complaint. I quote, "Working conditions are dangerous, the animals are aggressive, and the host promised an insured studio." Dear assistant, the studio is genuinely insured. There simply was not enough insurance left over for you. Separate note on aggressive animals. They are not aggressive. They have read you correctly. And a fair warning, you will not make it to the end of this episode. Complaint denied, helmet issued from props. While the folder is open, the con artists from the last file are still working the same trick, and still nobody has filed against them. Case stays open. Keep them coming. I file everyone. And the folder marked kindling is filling up nicely. Back to the case files. Petey. This file is a field visit. The subject escaped the apartment and now works the street. Vocabulary, about 100 words, every one of them learned at home from a single source. He copies intonation exactly, so the neighbors are certain they are hearing you. And on content, they are not wrong either. The beak that cheerfully says hello closes on a finger down to the bone, and that is why he lives in a cage, not because of his temper. He lives up to 50 years, 2 generations of owners, 1 carrier of evidence. You repeat your feed as your own opinion. Petey, at least, does not claim to be the author. Exhibit D, the Red Dot Street Edition. I run the laser across the sidewalk. Petey launches, sideways, hopping, wings out for gravitas, and stabs the beak straight at the glare. Miss. Another miss. A bird that reproduces human speech is chasing light down a sidewalk exactly like every cat that ever lived. Evolution economizes. One instinct shared by everybody. The dot, as usual, has never lost to anyone. The verdict. Plagiarism, 5 out of 10. The beak is a genuine hazard, and the thoughts are all stolen. 100 words, none of them his. The evidence he is carrying will outlive your phone by about 49 years. Next, the one who has not hurried in a century. And she is right. Shelly, opening the oldest file of the day. Tortoises live past 100. She has seen film cameras come and go, and she will see how your mortgage ends. The shell is not a case, it is her skeleton, around 50 bones, ribs and spine worn on the outside. She has been accused of carrying disease, when in fact you should wash your hands after handling anything alive, your neighbor included. She is in no hurry at all, and judging by results she is correct. A century of experience, zero panic. Finest file in the episode. Nobody could find a complaint. Exhibit E. Negotiations. We look at each other. I am waiting for a reaction. Shelly is waiting for me to leave. She has about 8 years in reserve. I have a running time. I blinked first. I lost a negotiation to a creature that was not participating. Age is when everyone is in a hurry except you. She can wait. We cannot. The verdict. Harmlessness, 2 out of 10. She is the only one here with no intention of touching anybody. Acquitted. She was called slow by people who have been running at deadlines for a century and still have not arrived. Next. A security guard with a saved city on his record. The cuteness ends here. Gary. Opening the file. The only defendant with combat history. In 390 BC, geese raised the alarm and saved Rome, while the legionaries were asleep. Ever since, geese have been posted to guard warehouses and prisons. The wing swings like a club. It breaks a human arm, and he charges anything that moves. No days off. The sweet bird from the picture book sends grown men over fences. Same energy as the commenters under a video they did not finish. Except the goose gets paid for it. Exhibit F. Perimeter check. I promise up front, today, no experiments on the intern. Honest. 2 minutes later, the new assistant decided that a goose this friendly could be petted and reached out a hand, in friendship. Gary logged it as an incursion, neck forward, wings wide, hissing, and charge. One beat of the wing takes the assistant off his feet and sends him over the fence in a beautiful arc, boots last to disappear. Note for the record, do not pet everything. Assistant withdrawn, confirmed personally. We will hire another one. As I keep telling them, there is plenty of interns. No points of Gary. The man walked up to a club and asked it for a hug. The verdict. Security, 8 out of 10. This is the case where a sweet nickname is standing in front of an actual fracture. He would have saved Rome and then chased the Romans out as well. Next. The most honest liar in the episode. Every word of her name is false. Peaches. Opening the last file. The guinea pig. Not a pig, not from Guinea, and no relation to either. A rodent from the Andes. 2 lies in a 2-word name, which is roughly the ratio in your unlimited phone plan, where unlimited stops at 20 gigabytes. Her body does not make vitamin C. Neither does yours. You just never think about it. The only threat she poses is guilt. She sleeps in snatches, often without closing her eyes. The name lies. The eyes stay open. The perfect witness. Final exhibit. I place the mug on the table, purely as decoration, no experiment intended. Peaches walks to the edge, looks at the mug, looks into the camera, and pushes. One movement, no run-up, full understanding of consequences. They do not teach that in the Andes. They teach it in episode 1, by the cat. The name is a complete fabrication. The push was real. The tradition has been handed down. The verdict. Imposture. 1 out of 10. After the goose, this is practically a rest cure. The only casualty is crockery. The humans are responsible for the name. She is responsible for the mug. You cannot convict anybody for a label they did not choose. The mug does go in the record, though. The list is closed. Case is closed. 7 sweet names, 1 assistant short, and not a gram of the cuteness you were sold. Fluffy is a threat to furniture, Mittens to your immune system, and Gary to the structural integrity of your bones. The sweetest name in the room belonged to the one who put a man over a fence. Shelly is clean, the cat tolerates you for the rent, and the most naive animal in this episode is sitting in front of a screen calling something sweetie, while it decides when you will be needed. Here is the invoice then. Every name on today's docket costs somebody money. Furniture, a doctor, a mug, a fence, and 1 assistant. The nickname was never a description. It was the receipt you agreed to before you read it. We will hire a new assistant. There are, it turns out, plenty. Coming up, animals at work, and which ones in the zoo actually earn the food. Subscribing will not nip you, and will not charge you. Safer than the goose, you have my word. Verify that personally. The Kindest Channel rests its case.